So what if I told you that the greatest asset that you have is already within you, and that the greatest tool you have at your disposal is already around you? You just have to learn how to tap into it in order to live up to your wildest dreams. Is that something you might be interested in? If so, please stick around with me. This is the Infinite Evolution. If you're anything like most Americans, you know what it's like to work an 8-hour day at a job you may not necessarily love and who doesn't necessarily pay you the way you should. Come home and all you want to do is nothing. Now, you might have kids, you might not, you might have responsibilities, you might be able to come home and just relax, but the bottom line is, once your time at work is over, something has to come after that. Now, there's only 24 hours in a day. You sleep for 8 hours, if you sleep for 8 hours, and 16 of those hours you're awake, right? And so, with those 16 hours you're awake, what I need you to do is be way more conscious about how you spend them. We've been sold a lie, we've been sold a bill of goods, and much of what we've been taught is not designed to get us out of this system. It's designed to keep you as a cog and keep the machine going. Now, it's not a bad thing to work a 9 to 5. I have no problem with blue collar workers. I myself have a job, but I also understand too that for me, knowing that I'm not where I want to be, there's no way I can justify going to work for 8 hours, giving them my time, my energy and effort, and then coming home and watching Netflix or playing video games only. Which isn't to say that there's no time for video games or no time for Netflix, but again, if you're only awake for 16 hours and 8 of them are spent at the job, 30 minutes is spent going to work, 30 minutes is spent coming back, there's only but so much time left for you, right? So that's an extra hour. So now we're down to what? 16 minus 9 is 7 hours left for you. You need time to eat. You need time to shower. You need time to brush your teeth. You need time to settle down for bed. The point I'm trying to make is there's only so much time in a day. And so any of it that you can take and glean for yourself is critical. Any time that you're able to glean for yourself, take for yourself, and use in the best way possible, I need you to understand just how powerful that's going to be. Today I want to show you how exactly to take advantage of it. Imagine you just worked 8 hours at a job that you may not necessarily love. You navigated through traffic, you dealt with rush hour to and from work, you had to get gas, you got groceries, you did all of these things that aren't necessarily for you, not directly for you, and will only pay you back but so much. The time you get when you come home is so precious. And I know that not everybody has a ton of it, but whatever little bit of time you do have, I need you to understand how important it is. So for many people, their greatest ambition is just going to be to relax. I want to enjoy time. I want to spend my life in a leisurely way. And when I get off work, I want to leave all responsibilities there. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this video I'm making here is for the person who wants more, who knows they can do more, who feels they're capable of more, who feels they're underappreciated, underpaid, under whatever. I'm here to give you exactly what you need, right? And so before I get deeper into what it is I'm going to say, I want to leave you with one quick message. Thought precedes action. And so it is so important to understand that before you can begin to take advantage of time, you must first get in control of your mind, and then you must understand the principle that thought precedes action. Thought precedes action. I know my voice isn't the greatest, but I committed to a 30-day challenge at the beginning of October, and every day for the month of October, I will be producing one original video. My voice doesn't sound the greatest right now, but I just spent 8 hours at a job that I actually do love. However, it's not my ultimate goal, it's not my ultimate ambition. I was able to find something I love because I go for the things that I care about. With that being said, I can no longer justify coming home every day and watching Netflix and scrolling through Instagram and spending time on social media. Though those things are fun, though those things can be enjoyable, more than anything, they're distractions. And so when you look up, you've been on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube for years and years, maybe some of us even decades. What do you have to show for it? I'm beyond the point where I only want to be entertained. I'm beyond the point where I'm willing to be distracted. My time is valuable. My mind is valuable. And today I want to teach you how to combine them both to get the best results out of what it is that you do. My name is Zach. This is the Infinite Evolution. Stick around with me. First off, your mind. Your mind is the most important part of you. It is the part of you that your personality comes from. It's the part of you where your goals come from, where ambition, where fear, where stress, where dreams are created. All of this is in your mind. And the thing is, your mind, balance, right? Instinct, spirituality, even the way your body works, your heartbeat, your lungs working, all of this is a function of what's happening up here. So if your mind is foggy, there's a really good chance that your life is probably foggy too, right? Now, one quick side note, one of the easiest ways to tell how foggy or clear a person's mind is just the space they are, right? Thought precedes action. That's going to be something you hear me say constantly throughout this series, because before you can do it, you must first think it. Before it comes to life, it must first take place in your mind. And so thought does precede action. If there were no outside influences, if there were no social media or advertisements or people constantly trying to tug at those dollars, trying to tug at your wallet to get those dollars, life would be a lot easier. But that isn't the world we live in, and I'm not a fan of living in the woulda, coulda, shoulda world. Obviously, life would be a lot easier if all we had to do was think about ourselves and our locus of influence. However, we know that there are so many people who want to influence us. So many outside forces, advertisers, businesses, companies, lobbies, political groups, you name it, there's always somebody who is trying to get into your mind and your wallet. And those things are kind of related because, for whatever reason, money does tend to make the world go around. It may not be ideal, but it is the reality. So if you know that there are forces at play trying to get your attention, you must be conscious of it and be aware of the things that you allow into your mind. In the future, I'm going to do another video where I talk about your health as well, but also how your diet is far more than just what you eat. It's everything that you consume, the music you listen to, the TV shows that you watch, the videos you watch, the social media you consume, the way you react, the comments you saw. All of it is a part of your diet, right? The things that you touch, the things that you put in your skin, the shampoo you use, the facial wash, the toothpaste, all of this is a part of your diet. All of these are things also that are brought about by influence, right? It's possible that you only bought the tissue or toilet paper or OJ you bought because it was the cheapest. But it's also possible that you bought it because you were influenced in some way, shape, or form. And so what I want to do is teach people to be a lot more conscious about the things we allow into our mind, the way our mind functions and operates. And I know that I can't do it in just one sitting. This is going to be a series of things. So I really hope you stick around with me because I just want to help. I just want to see people win. And I know that it's not quite right for me to know this information, to have this information, for me to have applied this information, but never shared this information with anybody else. So I think maybe the most important part about your mind, though, is that when it comes to the war for attention, when it comes to the war for your wallet, when it comes to trying to get to each and every person through these tiny devices that we have, one thing that we tend to overlook is our superpowers. And actually, I think there are two superpowers related to time and attention in your mind that people don't understand that are superpowers, but they really are because they sound like negative things. The first superpower is boredom. I know you're probably thinking, how could boredom be a superpower? Before we had cell phones, before we had TikTok, before we had YouTube and video games and social media, if in fact you had nothing to do, if in fact you were able to become bored, that would be able to spring about something new, right? I'm sitting on my couch bored, I have nothing to do, I have no phone to scroll on. Let me pick up a hobby, let me learn a skill, let me go work out, let me do something that will make me feel alive again. Instead, what we've kind of been conditioned to, and again, this is not an accidental thing, it's intentional, is boredom is bad. And so whenever you're bored, the easiest thing to do is pull out some sort of a screen or device and attach to it, right? But time is precious. And so one thing I always like to have people who I work with do is I like to tell them, if you got an iPhone or any phone, go look at those analytics. If you got an iPhone, go look up that screen time. If you don't have it on, turn it on. So many people are surprised to see once they open up their screen time on their iPhones, man, you spent 8 hours on social media last week. Man, you spent 24 hours on social media last week. Or you spent 36 hours on TikTok last week. Or you spent this many hours on whatever last week that gets you nowhere. Week after week of the same thing and getting you nowhere, something is going on. It's a habit. It's becoming you, and you are being influenced, and ultimately you are choosing to be distracted. Now again, if you don't want any more, then this message isn't for you. But if you know that you want more, if you feel that, man, I have been procrastinating, which I myself do feel that though as successful as I've become, I still feel like I'm on many levels, I'm an underachiever, and I think that sort of keeps me going. I still feel like I could have done more, and so because I could have done more, I don't take it as a negative. I look at it as an opportunity. I'm not one who likes to live with regret. So instead of regret, I'm going to take advantage of the time. I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity that I'm given, and then we're just going to go from there, right? So boredom is one of your superpowers. If you don't understand it, I'm telling you right now, allow yourself to be bored sometimes, right? And even if you are bored and you can't think of anything to do, go pick up a book. Right now, libraries are dying. They are literal sources of information. Thousands and thousands of books are going unread every year, and libraries are closing faster than the blink of an eye, all because we don't value information in the same way. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that if you've been on TikTok from the time that you were 8 or 6, or if you've been on TikTok even just for the last 3, 4, 5 years, it does do something to rewire your brain. Consider this. If you're watching TikTok and your brain is used to every 10 to 15 seconds some new stimulation, it's going to be really hard to focus on everyday things. Not because everyday things are so bad, it's because your brain is constantly used to finding something new. And you never get to settle and focus on one thing. Further, passively just being a consumer is exactly what whoever you want to call it wants from you. And it's not like a team or a collective of individuals who wants you to be a zombie. There are multiple different competing entities, but they're all doing the same thing and it's all leading to the same result. You being distracted, you being unfocused, and you not living up to the true credo of what it is you do. If you went to work for 8 hours, made the money you need to, which is clearly enough to support whatever it is you need to do, and you come home and start working for yourself, there's no limit to how much you can achieve. If every single day you're writing down your goals and you know exactly what it is you're going to do, there's no limit to what you can achieve. But if you go home every day and you're distracted and you on the phone and it's really easy to stop you from ever taking anything over, from ever being a problem, from ever rising too much, or forever not even needing the safety and security net of the job that it is that you want to leave. Again, if in your free time, all you're doing is being distracted and consuming, you're never going to get out of the rat race. Now, again, if you don't mind being in the rat race, then this isn't for you. But if you have a problem with it, I need you to change, and this is the way we do it, right? The other aspect beyond your mind is time. And they go hand in hand. You don't just get to have the mind aspect without the time. You got to have both. If your mind is sharp, but you don't understand time, or you don't understand how to take advantage of it, you're going to lose. If you really value time, but your mind is all over the place, you'll be stressed, you'll be anxious, and you won't get the things done that you need to. Both must work in congruence, right? So, again, both must work in congruence. So, to me, time is the most valuable asset you have. If your mind is the most valuable or most important part of you, your being, your body, time is the most valuable asset outside of our body. Time is the reason why love matters, because you got to spend time with that person and build a relationship and create a bond. All the times you spend thinking about them and wondering about them and loving them, all of that is time, and it matters, right? The time you spent away from them when you missed them. These are also factors and contributors to time. So we must take into account time is so important. But the craziest and scariest part of all when it comes to time is you don't actually know how much time you have. So if I told you you only have a year left, you might move a lot different. If I told you you only had a week of life to live left, you might move a lot differently. But because you think that you have infinite time, you don't move with the urgency that you need to. This is why I'm such a big proponent of not only having goals for today and goals for the near future, whether you're working on a 1 month, 30-day sprint like I'm currently on right now, or a 2 to 3 month, which I'm going to be doing next, leading into the end of the year. You need to have some sort of thing that is an anchor, that is pulling you in, that is a reflection of not only your mind, but your time. Perhaps the scariest thing about time is that it's so misunderstood and it's so not respected, right? If you knew just how little time you had, you would probably move a lot faster. But even further than that, if you knew how little time we have with all of the people around us, we would move a lot differently. And I understand that it can be overwhelming, because if you're always only working with urgency and intensity, it can seem like a lot. I'm not saying I want you to be a robot and a workaholic. What I'm saying is I need you to be more conscious about how you spend your mind. Every single morning you wake up, most people wake up, they open up their phone and they start scrolling through social media to see the updates and see what happened. Well, if that's not really benefiting or getting you anywhere or making you happy or starting your day off the right way, not only is it affecting your mind, but it's taking away time. That same 15, 20, 30 minutes that you spend on the toilet scrolling through the phone, you can spend reading, building a skill, learning a language, doing something productive. Just because time is important to me doesn't mean it's respected by all, and I understand it. So few actually respect what time is because we don't really have a good grasp on it. It can be overwhelming. It's a really big thing. Sort of how religion can be a really big thing for some people. For some people, thinking about God or thinking about spirituality is such a big thing, they would just rather not do it and just go through life with their head in the sand. Think about a guy like Steve Jobs, who was the head of Apple, passed away way before most of us would have thought. He really valued time. If you look at the way he dressed, he always wore the same thing. It's always a black top. It's always jeans. Because when you're at that high level, at the top of the biggest company in the world, you don't have time to spend 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes deciding on your outfit. Conversely, how many people do you know spend 20, 30, 40 minutes just deciding an outfit? Even for my videos, I decided, man, I'm gonna keep it really simple. I'm gonna wear a black t-shirt, it'll be a white t-shirt. I don't wanna spend 30 minutes thinking about the t-shirt when the message is really what's important. Whether you're talking about a Steve Jobs, whether you're talking about a Selena, whether you're talking about a Kobe, whether you're talking about a Chadwick Boseman, whether you're talking about a you name them, so many of our greats don't get to live a full life. Yet so many of our greats end up living far more in the little bit of time that they do have than people who get 80, 90, 100 years. And so at a certain point, you got to start asking yourself why and how. But even beyond asking yourself why and how, you got to start to fight against the current that is trying to influence you. Many of us have heard and many of us know and believe and understand that consistency is at the heart of success. If you want to lose weight, if you want to build muscle, you must be consistent in the things you eat and your workout regimen and planning those things and then executing, right? If you want to save money, you must consistently save the amount of money that you need, right? Saving money. You got to be consistent. When it comes to most types of success, consistency generally is the key. Whether it's a marriage, whether it's a business, whether it is an opportunity, consistency tends to be valued. So if I show up consistently and I'm the same person, my wife knows that I'm exactly who I say I am. I don't have a wife, but I'm just giving an example, right? If I consistently show up to work every day and I give them high quality business, you know exactly what to expect from me. When I have videography and film clients, right? You know exactly what to make of me. You know exactly what I'm going to give you because I'm consistent and it matters. What is consistency? Essentially, is you showing up time after time when it's expected, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when you're hungry, even when it's been an 8-hour day and you don't feel like doing it anymore. I get it. The thing about that consistency, though, is your future self is begging. Please just be consistent. Please just love me. Please just show me what it takes. Please just do the work now so that we don't have to grind in the future. I know so many people who are at an age where they are tired and they wish they could retire, but because they didn't handle business in their younger years, they can't do it. And it's a hard feeling. It's a hard pill to swallow. Well, what if you didn't have to wait on an employer to give you 30 years maybe at the job site? What if you could take retirement into your own hands? That's what taking advantage of time and mind is going to do for you. If you know anything about me, you know that I'm all about results. So it's not good enough for me to just talk about these things. I want to actually give you solutions that will help you win. The number one way that you can take advantage of the things that I'm telling you about is by actually controlling the things you consume. Everything that you allow into yourself is a part of your diet. So the social media you follow, if it's always negative, get rid of it. You don't need it. If TikTok is stealing hours of your life and giving you nothing back, get rid of it. You don't need it. If Facebook, if YouTube, if whatever the thing is that you are stuck on that is benefiting you in no way, get rid of it. It'll help you right away. Immediately you'll feel it. And yes, you might be bored, but remember, boredom is your superpower. Speaking of superpower, there is one other superpower that is related to time and also related to mind, and that is the power to forget. Kobe Bryant is one of my favorite athletes of all time, and one of the things he would say is part of the Mamba mentality, which was his mindset going into games, going into training, hyper focused, hyper diligent, hyper consistent, hyper prepared, hyper focused. Well, if you know anything about Kobe Bryant, once Kobe Bryant lost Shaq and he was playing by himself, for a while he had to be a gunner. And as that gunner, some days he would have great days, he drops 81, other days he might drop 30 or 40. The most important thing, though, is you got to have amnesia. When he's in the final against the Boston Celtics and things didn't go the way he wanted. I believe it was 2008 where the Boston Celtics with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce formed the very first super team in the NBA ever, or the first modern super team, and they were able to beat Kobe Bryant in the finals. It was tough, it was hard, but what he didn't do is dwell on it and hang his head low and give up. He used it as motivation. He used it as fuel. But ultimately, he took that fuel and he turned it into time. He took that pain and he turned it into passion and persistence and dedication. And he stayed in the gym and he worked on those shots and he came back the next year. He handled business and he won the finals. Well, how does that happen? There's an old saying in the NBA where shooters gonna shoot. Well, why can shooters keep shooting even if they miss? Because you gotta have amnesia. Yeah, the last shot just went in, forget about it, you gotta make another one. Yeah, the last 3 didn't go in, forget about it, you gotta do something else. Embracing your ability to forget is one of the things that gets us further. Yeah, maybe X, Y, and Z didn't work out, but you still got A, B, C, and D. Maybe that relationship didn't work out, but you don't have to only focus on that relationship. You can forget about it, you can do something different. Forgetting is one of the most important things we have. Maybe yesterday you had a bad day at work. Forget about it, it's a new day. Maybe a few hours ago you stubbed it, forget about it, it's irrelevant. Do something else, right? Forgetting is one of the most important skills, traits, characteristics that anyone has ever had. And again, it doesn't sound like a superpower, but when you can understand that the power of forgetting is actually a lot more, our brains aren't designed to remember everything. When things are too bad and when things aren't useful, our brain will do things to make us forget. There are people who have had traumatic experiences as a kid and their brain will literally wipe them out to the where the person doesn't even remember. And you say, well, how can you not remember that? Because some things you need to forget. Forgetting is a highly underrated asset, and if you can learn to understand and embrace forgetting, you will win. Also, you need to understand your mind is a muscle. The same way you would lift weights, in the same way you would do cardio, in the same way you would feed your muscle the greatest foods, you need to do the same for your mind by controlling that diet, by putting good input in and keeping the bad stuff out, by not listening to haters, by listening to people who love you, by spending time around people who speak life into you and who care about you, and avoiding people who do anything other than that. Finding harmony between these two things is the most important. Both time and your mind work together, but when they work together in the most harmonious way, you'll receive the best results. Mastering just one of them is a win. Mastering both of them, you can change the world. But again, it's the balance, and this is the tricky part. So few people make it to the top. If you just look at the law of averages, only a small percentage of people make it to the top, only a small percentage of people make it to the bottom. Most people are kind of in the middle, and it's because in the middle is where safety and comfort and what we naturally do is. But if you can find a way to separate it, you can understand time better than other people, you'll separate. Again, separation requires elevation. Elevation requires separation. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's coming home and watching Netflix. Everybody's coming home and being distracted. Everybody's waking up and the first thing they do is mindless scrolling. You can't be better than everybody else if you're doing the same thing as everybody else. Elevation requires separation. So don't do what everybody else does. Literally be different if you want to be different. Part of that prioritizing time, and this may sound a bit counterintuitive, is that you got to stop to smell the roses. I'm not telling you to be a robot or a drone and only work and only suffer and only work 8 hours, come home. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is find a way to shift the balance so that so much of your free time isn't mindless scrolling and distraction. If you're more intentional with the time you do have, then in the future, when you want to spend time the way you want, you'll be able to because you made the right choices now. That delayed gratification is going to be what separates you or keeps you in the same muck. So I need you to understand that priorities, but also smelling the roses is important. Yes, you want to have priorities. Yes, you want to get things done. Yes, you want to embrace time. But part of embracing time is learning to enjoy time. If I'm a multi-billionaire and I've never stopped to enjoy those roses, if I never stopped to smell the flowers, what's the point of being a billionaire? If I'm a multi-billionaire and I never took the time to build or create a family or create a community, what's the point of being a multi-billionaire? Money's value is only so far when you're missing the most important things in life like love and family and character. If you know anything about me, you know that regret is one of those things that I simply cannot do. It's something I'll never knowingly, willingly walk into. And my voice has been a bit hoarse all day. And I could have not shot the video. I had people tell me, hey, you should probably take a day off. I mean, it's only the second day. Nobody's going to notice. But I'll notice. And I'll have that regret. Because I did choose to stick to my goals. Because I did choose to follow the plan. Because I am on this 30-day sprint, which will not be stopped by anyone but me. I can't take those shortcuts. And it's not even that it would be unreasonable for me not to. There might even be a person or two who doesn't want to hear somebody whose voice isn't in the greatest condition. I don't care. I don't care. Why? Because I'm on a mission and my mind is focused and I understand that the time I have is precious. I don't know if I have tomorrow. I don't know if I have 3 more weeks. I don't know if I have 20 more weeks or 20 more years or 2. I don't know. What I do know is that I have right now. And the most important asset that you have right now is this moment, right now in the present. So do something with it. I don't want you to just only listen to my videos and be inspired. I want you to go take action. For far too long, I as a creator have learned and studied and built knowledge, but at a certain point, I gotta start taking action. And then my challenge to myself is loving myself enough to invest in myself and take the actions that I need to get to success. It's also important to recognize that mental health today is far more important than ever before. With so many outside forces trying to influence your mind, your spirit, your heart, your wallet, your spending habits, your kids, it's so important to take care of your mind. It's so important to unplug for a moment. Focus on you and the things that matter. Stop and smell the roses, and just make sure that your mental is as sharp as possible. Make sure that the space that you occupy is as clean as possible. Make sure that the diet and all the things you consume are the best, highest quality as possible. Why? So on the day you turned 18, if I told you, hey, I'm going to give you a car and it'll be a top of the end luxury car, the finest, fastest, most durable, useful, practical car you could possibly make, your dream car. All you had to do was take care of it, and it will take care of you for the rest of your life. It'll never get old. It'll constantly evolve. It's a smart car, so it'll learn. You would want that car. But what if I told you that the car is your body and that the things you put into it are the fuel that's making the car go? Would you put the best fuel in, or would you put the worst fuel in? Would you put the premium, or would you put the basic? Would you abuse the car, or would you make sure you take care of it? Would you never get oil changes or checkups, or would you do right by it? Would you overwork it at all times for the job? Would you only take that car and spend it to go to work? Or would you ever take a road trip? Would you spend some time doing the things you love, going out to eat, maybe taking your girl to get some ice cream or something like that, taking your kids out to do whatever? Your body is the car. Your mind is the car. Your mind is the vehicle. Your body is the vehicle. So I need you to understand just how important it is to take advantage of both of these things. You can go to this job that you love or not, and you can work 8 hours, you can come home and you can chill, or you can do something for you. The something for you doesn't have to be 8 more hours of work. It might be 10 minutes of Duolingo after work. It might be reading a book for 30 minutes. It might be meditating. But whatever it is you do, protect your mind and protect your time, because those are the most valuable, important things we have. Your mind is of you, your time is an asset, but both work together, and when they do in harmony, you will win. I recommend creating 2 separate lists. One of them is a short-term goal, 2 to 3 months at the most. 30 days is always a good one for me, of the things you want to do, and then every single day, write down the goals, the small goals that will lead you to there. It might be watering the lawn, it might be taking out the trash, it might be filling out that paperwork, it might be doing that job application, sending out the resume, whatever it is, write them down, and I promise it'll work. Writing things down will help you take advantage of your time, because it'll help you keep track of the things you got to get done, and so that the time you use will be more efficient. Efficiency is the name of the game. The companies who are trying to get your attention, the outside influencers who are trying to gain your attention, they understand the importance of time and attention and urgency, so you must as well. Most important of all, you must stop and smell the roses. Life is meant to be lived. I don't want you to live a life of all hustle and no fun. I don't want you to live a life of all work and no play. I want you to be able to embrace and enjoy life in the best ways possible. And the way to do that is to actually stop and smell the roses. What's the point of hustling for so many hours if you never get to enjoy it? What's the point of becoming a billionaire if you never get to enjoy the billions, or you never get to spread the love of the billions? So what I'm saying more than anything else, understand your mind, understand your time, stop and smell the roses, create a plan, write these things down, have goals, and you will win. This is the Infinite Evolution, and I hope you're able to get some sort of value out of this. Let me know what you think. Beat up the comments, like, comment, subscribe. Do let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about, hit on. I will see you later. Peace.